Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with some notable names in Latin American and Hispanic American history. Yeah, I get so much stuff confused anymore because I've got so many series all over the place. Anyway, today we are looking at what was meant to be Monday's video. Roberto Clemente. I got Roberto Clemente Walker. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out that information where the last name comes from, Walker, but okay. He lived from 1934 to 1972 and was born in Puerto Rico and played 18 seasons at the right field position for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Batting average was above 300 and was selected for every All-Star game from 1960 until his death, with the sole exception of the 68 season. So yeah, he had some talent. When he was plagued by shoulder problems, he was a Catholic, doing humanitarian work in the off season. He died in a plane crash, bringing earthquake relief supplies to Nicaragua, and the following year became the first Latino American Baseball Hall of Fame inductee and was honored with a 1984 stamp that also marked the first appearance of the Puerto Rican flag on the U.S. postage, even though Puerto Rico is a territory of the U.S. Honestly, a lot of these places should be given the ability to say, hey, do you want to have statehood? I brought this up before. Combine Puerto Rico and the American Virgin Islands as, call it something like Caribbean or Caribbean America or something like that. But they need to be treated as citizens. They have been part of U.S. ownership for over 100 years. Anyway, we're getting off track. Bring it back up now. And again, this information I was just getting through reading is from the Smithsonian Institute. But they're talking about Roberto Clemente. There's the stamp he was honored with. Uniform. Game used bat on loan from the Stephen Wong collection, 1960. It was when it was game used. And there's the home uniform for Pittsburgh Pirates for Clemente with the batting helmet from 66. Bat was swung by Clemente in 1960, the year he won his first World Series championship with the Pirates, and it was inscribed with the childhood nickname Moman, found only on his earliest bats, and his player number 21 written on the knob. So yeah, the handle end here. Clemente gave the bat to his fellow pirate Bill Mazeroski, who kept it until 2013. Uniform and helmet are from '66, the year Clemente achieved career highs in home runs and RBIs, and won the National League's Most Valuable Player award and captured his 6th of 12 Gold Glove awards. 12 Gold Gloves. So the guy could field. He could field. The artwork for the stamp was based on a around 1960 photograph of Clemente. Excuse me, my goodness. Clemente is one of only 3 baseball players to appear on more than one U.S. postage stamp, the other two being Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson. So yeah, a bit of information on Clemente. Let's go to biography here. He played with the Brooklyn Dodgers minor league team before making the major league debut for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1955. Led the National League in batting 4 times during the 60s and starred in the 1971 World Series. As we already mentioned, he would die in '72 delivering goods to Nicaragua in an attempt to deliver some kind of aid, humanitarian aid. His name was Roberto Enrique Clemente Walker. And he was born August the 18th, 1934 in Carolina, Puerto Rico. He was the son of a sugarcane worker, beginning his professional baseball career just after finishing high school. He signed a deal with the Brooklyn Dodgers farm system and played with their minor league team, the Montreal Royals, for a season. The next year, he went on to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates and finally made a major league debut in '55. He hit an impressive 311 in 1956. Pretty nice, but he struggled with injuries and the language barrier early in his career. He hit his stride in 1960, batting in .314 with 16 home runs and 94 RBIs. Excuse me. To earn his first All-Star berth and help the Pirates win the World Series. Following year, he led the National League with a .351 average, hit 23 home runs, and won his first of 12 consecutive Gold Glove awards for excellence. As time went on that decade, he established himself as one of the top all-around players in baseball, winning 3 more batting titles and twice led the league in hits. Furthermore, he boasted one of the most fearsome arms ever witnessed in the sport, consistently unleashing powerful throws from his post in right field. So he apparently had a hell of a arm. There's some players who do. Not every player has that ability to throw a runner out or anything, but yeah, Clemente apparently was one of the players that could. I've seen some players, yeah, they can go straight from the outfield, throw that baseball, and it still be a rocket as it approaches the base he's throwing it to try to get a runner out. There are a rare collection of baseball players who can do that. let's see. Perhaps the final season in 66, batting .317 with a career best 29 homers, 119 RBIs to win the NL's Most Valuable Player award. That's a modern player worthy set. It wouldn't have won an NL MVP because they expect so much more nowadays. But yeah, hitting .317, 29 homers, and 119 RBIs, you would still be a damn good player. A lot of teams would won't with numbers like that. Clemente put on a show in the 71 World Series, batting .414, 2 home runs to help Pittsburgh defeat the Baltimore Orioles. And late in the 1972 season, he became the first Hispanic player to reach 3,000 career hits. But we know, again, unfortunately, he would die in 72. Matter of fact, December 31st, 72, so last day of the year. He was proud of his Puerto Rican heritage and stood up for minority rights, as is what anyone should do. Married Vera Zabala in 63. They had 3 sons. Known for his humanitarian work, he died in the plane crash December 31st, 72, bringing much-needed supplies to the survivors of an earthquake in Nicaragua. And for those who don't know, Nicaragua is one of the small countries in that strip of land that connects South and North America. That we call Central America. The next year, he was elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and became the first Latino inducted into the Hall. And that was via biography, so yeah. Anyway, let's see. Britannica. Get some information here. Professional baseball player whose idol was an idol to native Puerto Rico and was and one of the first Latin American baseball stars in the U.S. Originally, he signed with the Dodgers and their farm system in 54, given a $10,000 bonus, very high by the standards of the time, but would be sent to the minor leagues during the 54 season because of a major league rule that stipulated that any player given a bonus of more than $4,000 had to be kept in the major league roster for his entire first season or be subject to a draft from other clubs. The Dodgers lost Clemente because he was in the minor leagues. So the Pirates were able to draft him. He would make his major league debut April 1st, 1955, and spend his entire career the rest of his career with the Pirates. 18 seasons, 12 Gold Gloves, good hitter, 4 National League batting titles, lifetime average 317. He would have 3,000 base hits, getting that 3,000th hit in his very last at-bat as a player. Which, at that point, only 10 other players had reached the mark 3,000 hits. Impressive stats during his career. He was often mocked by print media in the U.S. for his heavy Spanish accent. As an Afro-Latino, Clemente was subject to double discrimination: his Latin heritage, African heritage, which a lot of your Caribbean peoples were going to be, because a lot of slaves from Africa were brought over to these islands. And yeah. So a lot of them would have native Latin heritage, but they would also have African American heritage. But yeah, would suffer at double discrimination, being a foreigner and being black in a racially segregated society. Although the media tried to call him Bob or Bobby, and many of the baseball cards used Bob, Clemente explicitly rejected those nicknames, stating in no uncertain terms that his name was Roberto. There was no confusion over the correct form of his surname. For 27 years, the plaque in the National Baseball Hall of Fame read Roberto Walker Clemente, mistakenly placing his mother's maiden name before his father's surname. Only in 2000 did it change to its proper Latin American form, Roberto Clemente Walker. Okay, so one is the last name of the mother and one's the last name of the father, Walker and Clemente. Perhaps equally as important as Clemente's accomplishments on the field was his role as an advocate for equitable treatment of Latin baseball players, in which he took great pride. Near the end of his career, he said, "My greatest satisfaction comes from helping to erase the old opinion about Latin Americans and blacks." Close friend of Clemente's, Spanish-language broadcaster Luis Mayoral added that Clemente was to Latinos what Jackie Robinson was to black baseball players. He spoke up for Latinos and was the first one to speak out. In the offseason, Clemente returned to his homeland, playing winter baseball in the Puerto Rican League, providing baseball clinics to young players, and spending time with his family. He would head relief efforts in Puerto Rico after a massive earthquake that hit Nicaragua in late December 1972, when Clemente received reports that the Nicaraguan army had stolen relief supplies meant for the people. He decided to accompany the next supply plane shortly after takeoff from the San Juan airport. On December 31st, the plane would crash, killing Clemente and the 4 crew members. The Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, waived the rule requiring a 5-year wait after retirement or death before a player could be elected to the Hall. And so in July of 73 was the first player born in Latin America to be inducted into the National Baseball Shrine Hall of Fame. The award presented annually to a Major League Baseball player for exemplary sportsmanship and community service was renamed the Roberto Clemente Award in 73. So clearly a huge impact on baseball. Not just, oh, he was a great player, great person enough that they felt the need to even change the rules on how they saw some players. In this case, change the rules on how they put them in, because one of the well-known things, if you're a fan of sports, baseball, 5 years after retirement. So he clearly had that big of an impact. Now let's go to Wikipedia. See if there's anything else I'm missing here. Career stats: 317, 3,000 hits, 240 home runs, and 1,305 RBIs. He had played for 18 years, but we don't even know if he was close to even wanting to retire. Fifteen-time All-Star. 1960 to 72. Only missed 68 because of injuries. Two-time World Series champ, 1960, 71. Which I think 71 is at the same time as like Stargell, We Are Family, and all that. I think that's a little beforehand, but still, yeah. He was the NL MVP in 66. World Series MVP in 71. 12 Gold Glove awards, 61 to 72. 4 NL batting championships. His Pittsburgh Pirates number 21 would be retired. Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Fame. Baseball Hall of Fame. And it was a pretty close to unanimous election. 92.7%. There's a lot on his baseball stats and everything, but sometimes you want to know more about them as an individual. Born August 18th, 34, in Barrio San Anton. The whole accent things here always throw me off. Anton, it should be, given most Spanish that I know, but probably with the accent Anton. In Carolina, Puerto Rico, to Louisa Walker and Melchor Clemente. Youngest of 17 siblings, 3 were from his mother's previous marriage. 7 siblings, 3 from a different marriage, but from his mother. During his childhood, father worked as a foreman at the sugarcane crops located in the municipality in the northeastern part of the island. Because the family's resources were limited, Clemente and his brothers worked alongside his father in the fields loading and unloading trucks. Had interest in baseball early in life and often played against neighboring barrios, neighborhoods. I think at just, quarter neighborhood. Grew up, watched games in Puerto Rico's Winter Baseball League as a kid. San Juan was a popular destination for barnstorming teams and players who wanted to continue playing in the winter months. I think San Juan is the capital of Puerto Rico, the island. Watching the games, Clemente was inspired by Monty Irvin, a right fielder for the Negro League's Newark Eagles. His professional career began at the age of 18 when he accepted a contract from Pedrin Zorrilla. Remember, double L's pronounced as a Y in Spanish, with Congrejeros de Santurce Crabbers, a Winter League team and franchise of the Puerto Rican Professional Baseball League. So he'd play a few years in Puerto Rico before officially signing with the Dodgers. Okay. Because they signed him in 54. So he played a good year and a half, 2 years in Puerto Rico. Because of the bonus, the Dodgers decided against benching him for 2 years in the majors and decided to place him with the Montreal Royals, the International League AAA affiliate for the Dodgers. While it is often believed that the Dodgers instructed manager Max Macon to use Clemente sparingly to prevent him from being drafted under the Rule 5 draft, Macon himself denied it. Box scores suggest that Macon platooned Clemente the same as he did with other outfielders. Clemente would receive assistance from bilingual teammates such as infielder Chico Fernandez and pitchers Tommy Lasorda and Joe Black. Lasorda himself had become manager of the Dodgers for a long period there. The Pirates originally came looking at Joe Black, but apparently they found out about Clemente, noticing him in batting practice. The end of The 54th season, Clemente returned to play for Santurce, where one of his teammates was Say Hey Willie Mays. The Pirates made Clemente the first selection in the Rule 5 draft. Oh, goodness. Career. In September of 58, Clemente would join the U.S. Marine Corps and serve a 6-month active duty commitment at Parris Island in South Carolina, Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and in Washington, D.C. At Parris Island, Clemente received recruit training with Platoon 346 of the 3rd Recruit Battalion. Rigorous Marine Corps training programs helped Clemente physically. He added strength by gaining 10 pounds and said his back troubles caused by being in a 1954 auto accident disappeared as a result of the training. He was a private first class in the Marine Corps Reserves until September of 64. So he would come into the U.S., play baseball, and still be a Marine. Yeah. Let's see. Clemente's hometown newspaper, San Juan Star, wrote, Clemente is a black Puerto Rican, making him doubly dubious. His native tongue is foreign to button-down America, and so is his color. The year before, the Pirates had hired Kurt Roberts, their first African-American player, and they were the 5th team in the NL and 9th in major leagues to do so 7 years after Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color line by joining the Dodgers. So when Clemente arrived in Pittsburgh, Roberts befriended him and helped him adjust to life in the major leagues as well as in the Pittsburgh area. Yeah, America's had a sad, sad history with racist bullshit. Let's see. During his rookie season, Clemente had to sit out several games as he had suffered a lower back injury in Puerto Rico the previous winter when a speeding drunk driver rammed into his car at an intersection. Finished his rookie season with a .255 batting average despite trouble hitting certain types of pitches. His defensive skills were highlighted during the season. Let's see. A lot of his history. Now, Stargell was apparently around the same time as Clemente, so yeah, Stargell himself, great player. Interesting. Still, he was later, 62 to 82, I think it said, yeah, so Clemente had already been around for a little bit, but was still at reaching his peak, so interesting. We've spoken of his charity work a bit because it was because of a charity flight to Nicaragua that unfortunately he would pass. Spent much of his time during the off season involved in charity work. One of the projects he was most invested with was creating a sports center for disadvantaged youth in Puerto Rico. In 1967, he told reporters, "The biggest thing I want to do is for the youth, for the kids. Then I am ready to quit baseball. When I am ready to quit baseball, I will have my sports center. To me, it will be the most important thing in the world." The center was so important to Clemente that shortly before recording his 3,000th hit, he told his manager, Danny Murtaugh, that the most important moment of his life would not be the hit, but the creation of the center. Unfortunately, the project would stall after his death until his widow, Vera Clemente, attained corporate assistance for the center in the late 80s. He died in 72, 73. And it would take into the late 80s to get the center finished. Now many professional Puerto Rican players have trained at the center. Yeah, 72, because that's when the whole thing happened with the earthquake. Immediately following Clemente's death, a relief aid organization for the victims of the Nicaraguan earthquake was created in his name. President Richard Nixon was one of the most prominent contributors to the Roberto Clemente Memorial Fund. Shortly after the inception of the fund, donations grew to $350,000. There's career stat line. If anybody wants to look at it and stuff. Honors and legacies. We talked about them. Hall of Fame. 1999 was ranked number 20 in the Sporting News list of the 100 greatest baseball players, and would be the highest ranking Latin American and Caribbean player on the list. Uh, 2007 selected for the all-time Rawlings Gold Glove team for the 50th anniversary of the creation of the Gold Glove Award, so considered one of the best fielders ever. Named to Major League Baseball's Latino Legends team in 2005. Like I said, guy's just incredibly amazing as a player. Clearly. 73, baseball renamed the Commissioner's Award to the Roberto Clemente Award, and has been awarded every year to a player with outstanding baseball playing skills who is personally involved in community work. Trophy and a donation check for the charity of the player's choice are presented annually at the World Series. Clemente would be elected to the Hispanic Heritage Baseball Museum Hall of Fame 2010 and Caribbean Baseball Hall of Fame in 2015. In 2003, he was inducted into the U.S. Marine Corps Sports Hall of Fame. So yeah. Near the old Forbes Field where Clemente began his major league career, the city of Pittsburgh renamed a street in his honor. The city also would name Roberto Clemente Memorial Park in his honor. At Pirate City, the Pittsburgh Pirates spring training home in Bradenton, Florida, a section of 27th East Street is named Roberto Clemente Memorial Highway. We've talked about the stamps. The Pirates originally erected a statue in memory of Clemente at Three Rivers Stadium just before the 1994 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It has been since moved to PNC Park when it opened in 2001 and stands outside the park's center field gates. And let's see. 74, the Harlem River State Park in Morris Heights, Bronx, New York, was renamed Roberto Clemente State Park in his honor. In 2012, the Puerto Rico Professional Baseball League was renamed Liga de Béisbol Profesional Roberto Clemente, where the number 21 was permanently retired. Let's see. Many U.S. schools have been named after Clemente. Roberto Clemente Community Academy in Chicago, Roberto Clemente Charter School in Allentown, Pennsylvania. In 2002, baseball proclaimed September the 15th as Roberto Clemente Day. A little bit about his life personally. Married November the 14th, 64 to Vera Zabala in San Fernando Church in Carolina. Carolina would probably be more properly pronounced given Spanish. Carolina. Yeah, I can speak Spanish, not fluent. I'm not going to be your translator, but I can do enough to get through places. Couple had 3 children. Roberto, often referred to as Roberto Jr., born in 65. Luis Roberto, born in 66. And Roberto Enrique, born in 69. Clemente would die November 16th, 2019, at the age of 78. We talked about Clemente being a Catholic. His older brother Justino visited the Baseball Hall of Fame and provided insight into the language barrier and racism Roberto faced. Justino himself had passed just recently, March 2025, at the age of 97. So yeah, pretty in-depth look at one of the great baseball players and a guy who really transcended racial barriers that unfortunately still fucking exist in this nation. Yeah, Roberto Clemente. But with that, we'll go ahead and end the episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.